Well, it's been a while since I've recorded a video on my YouTube channel. In fact, the last time I recorded a video was 4 days ago when I reviewed another famous 2-0 victory that the US had against Mexico. And also the reason why I haven't been recording a video in these last couple of days is because of personal reason. But today, I'm glad to finally be back recording a video on my channel. And just like how in the last video I did a review of the US take on Mexico, in this video, we'll take a look at the game between the US and Jamaica, and in the end, it ended in a 1-1 draw in the game that I kind of knew this was going to happen, where, after such a monumentalist victory that the US had against Mexico, and not to mention the fact that it was another 2-0, it was always going to be hard in a short amount of time that this team can follow up that victory with another win. I mean, I know some people will say that game should give a lot of confidence to a lot of these players and give the momentum for some of these players to do, but there's one thing that is momentum, but then there's also the other thing called letdown, and it was pretty clear that coming into this game, especially how the US play in this game, there was definitely a big letdown from the game that they had against Mexico. Though I will say, for the first 20 minutes, it looked like they carried that momentum from that 2-0 win against Mexico. But before we talk about that, the starting 11 for the U.S. in this game, you got Zach Steffen, DeAndre Yedlin, Walker Zimmerman, Chris Richard, Anthony Robinson, Yunus Musa, Tyler Adams, Gianluca Busio, Tim Way, Ricardo Pepi, and Brandon Aronson. Obviously, notable player that is missing from that starting 11 is Miles Robinson and Western McKennie. Both of them, of course, are suspended because of yellow card accumulation. And while, Miles Robinson, I don't think he was relatively missed that much, because I thought Walker Zimmerman had a really good game stepping in to his role. That cannot be said the same about Western McKennie. I really think this was a game that they dearly missed Western McKennie a lot. And his replacement, Gianluca Busio, yeah, it wasn't really one of his best game, and that you can definitely sense that, Busio, I don't think he's ready yet to step in the big time of this U.S. men's national team. I mean, I talked about before how Busio does definitely have the potential to do so, but you can clearly see that he doesn't bring that much of an energy, especially in the midfield, compared to what Western McKennie did in this game. Now, in the first half, there was actually a limited capacity for this game, which was kind of a bit surprising, because I thought coming into this game, this one was played behind closed door and that we're going to have no fans in attendance. But it turns out there was about 5,000 so Jamaica fans attending this game. Well, they said 5,000, but it kind of looked like maybe there was only like 3,000 of them. And then there was also a small amount of U.S. fans that made the trip to Kingston to watch this game. I thought there was a lot of possession early for Jamaica, but it was actually the U.S. getting the opening goal. And it's Tim Way who, again, continued that incredible performance that he had against Mexico. And as I said, the momentum kind of that they had in that win against Mexico kind of carried it. And certainly Tim Way did it, as he scored here from Pepi to give the U.S. a 1-0 lead. By the way, that was the first shot of the game. I mean, early on, there wasn't really much that happened. I mean, as much as Jamaica did a good job in terms of dominate possession, they didn't really do much with the ball. And as soon as U.S. go on the other end, they immediately score. And at that point, I thought that was definitely a great sign to see, because, it seems like maybe they have carried that momentum that they got from that 2-0 win against Mexico. And, clinical finishing is something that this U.S. team at times does lacking, and especially getting an early goal. I think that's probably another thing we got to talk about, how this is only the second time the U.S. has been able to score in the first half. This team is not a first half team. This team is more of a second half team. So to get an early goal and to go up 1-0 is definitely very refreshing to see from this team. And it definitely seemed like that give them momentum for them to get the second goal, because they really started to control the possession after that goal. They had a chance to get that 2-0 lead, but Blake was able to deny Aronson in the 15th minute. But then in the 22nd minute, Jamaica equalized. And it's Mikel Antonio scoring from Williams to tie the game up at 1 apiece. I thought the U.S., for most part, they did a good job in terms of shutting down Mikel Antonio. Obviously the talk coming into this game of how he is kind of the most dangerous guy for Jamaica, and he basically show why in this case. I mean, this was just an amazing goal that Mikel Antonio scored from outside the box. I mean, you can question maybe bad closing down, especially on Tyler Adams' part, but there's just nothing but just kind of tip your hat off of Mikel Antonio, who has just been not only red hot coming into this game, but he is just having an incredible season with West Ham, and I think Jamaica got a really good player in him after they were able to call him for international duty. But yeah, he scored here to tie the game up at 1 apiece. It was completely against the run of play, and I thought really this goal kind of killed the U.S. momentum and killed kind of their vibe of potentially maybe follow up that win against Mexico with another win in this one against Jamaica, because after that, the game kind of started to be a little bit sloppy, but mostly the U.S. they just didn't look sharp with their passing. I mean, in the first 10 minutes it looked like that was the case, but then it just feels like maybe they gave up that goal, and that sucker punch kind of really kind of took a hit on their confidence. And not only the fact that they didn't look sharp in terms of passing, the build up was very slow. I mean, it was at slow pace at time, and I know the pitch in Jamaica was not good whatsoever. But again, there's no excuse in terms of that. This is kind of the thing that you just have to deal with when you have to go on the road in a CONCACAF game, or in this game in the Caribbean. I mean, I thought the pitch itself, when you look at it, it's definitely not as bad as I've seen some of those Central American pitch, but there's time where the ball does kind of get stuck a little bit, and the U.S. just couldn't really quite figure that out for most part of this game. But in the 38th minute, there was a shout for a handball for Jamaica that was not given. Most of the Jamaica attack, I thought, has been kind of on the flank, which is not a big surprise. They have a lot of speed there on the wing there, but I thought the U.S. backline did a pretty comfortable job in terms of dealing with it. I mean, most of the time they have done a good job in terms of tracking back, and especially the fullbacks in this game. I thought they played very well in this game, shutting down those supply line that Jamaica tend to do. But we do head to halftime with the score tied at 1 apiece. Almost at scoreless a minute ago, because a lot of U.S. World Cup qualifying game has been scoreless at halftime. So I'm so used to saying it, but then I realized that this is only the second time I think the U.S. was able to head to Jamaica tied at 1 apiece, because I think that game against Costa Rica, where they did score a first half goal, that was also tied at 1 apiece. So we go to the second half, and in the second half, Busio put one high from 24 yards out. I thought that was probably the best moment for Busio in this game. Again, I just didn't think he had a good game in this one, and definitely just didn't bring that energy in the midfield like Western McKennie did for this team. Reed then missed an absolute sitter just 1 minute later from 4 yards out, and he's definitely going to be thinking about this one. Like, he was just wide open there. It was a bit of a miscommunication there from the back line for the U.S., which was very rare, because I thought for the majority of the game they did very well in defense, but this was a lack of communication here, and it almost cost them, and they're probably thankful that Reed could not put that one on target, but in many ways he clearly should have done it, and he's definitely going to be thinking about that chances for the rest of the night. And I also wrote, the U.S. hasn't started the second half as good as they usually are in the World Cup qualifier. Like I said before, this is a second half team. I really like what Greg Berhalter has done to it throughout this tournament in terms of making that adjustment at halftime and really get this team going the second half. But this is just a game where they just kind of look flat, even coming out of the second half whistle. He did try to bring some reinforcement by bringing both Pulisic and Acosta in the 66th minute. By the way, that was the first two substitution. Then Mikel Antonio went through on goal, and he actually round Stefan, but this time he couldn't quite get the composure to get any power into the empty net in the 73rd minute. And as the time winds down, the U.S. still look very flat in this game. They just looked like they were just stuck in neutral, and it was just getting to a point where, as much as I was hoping they eventually will get it going and maybe get a second goal to get a win, now I kind of feel like maybe a draw would be fair, consider how much they were stuck in neutral. And what's even worse is that I thought Jamaica had a couple chances to win it, and they started to really believe that they can actually get all 3 points in it, and they thought they did so in the 84th minute when Damian Lowe scored a header, but the goal was quickly disallowed because Lowe was the one that basically pushed off Zimmerman as he was headed in. Now, I have heard a lot of people say that was probably a very soft foul, and I thought the U.S. probably got away with it, and in some way I kind of agree, but then I feel like when I look back on the replay, like they only show one replay on the Paramount Plus the Paramount Plus broadcast. But you know, when I look at it, then in the other end, you can definitely see that there was a bit of a shove. And again, you know, it doesn't take much in terms of fouling an opponent, and especially in the concave region, you know, with dodgy referee, you know that they're probably gonna make it kind of a dodgy call, even though you probably think that that might not be the case if you were watching an MLS game. But hey, for once, you know, this kind of benefit the U.S., which is kind of a rarity because it seems like the CAF referee, there's always tends to be bad calls that goes against the U.S. But nevertheless, that was really the final note I wrote because really for the final 6 minutes, you know, both teams looked like they was just happy to settle for a point, and that is exactly what happened in this game as it ends in a 1-1 draw. And the shots in this one, only 9 shots compared to 6 that Jamaica had. Both teams had 2 shots on goal, 4 shots off target for the 2 that the U.S. had, 5 shots that was blocked for the none that Jamaica has, and possession-wise, 62% possession compared to 38% possession that Jamaica has. And by the way, since this game was taking place at 2 o'clock my time, and since I was at work, I actually didn't get a chance to watch this game until after I got off work about around 5:30. And then even then, I was actually watching this game and also watching the Canada versus Mexico game at the same time. So hence, that's why I didn't really kind of go as much detail as I did in the other one. And, you know, I was watching the Canada versus Mexico game because I had a lot of interest in that one. And I, like many U.S. fans, kind of like, you know, kind of had almost two different minds of the fact that, you know, on one hand, I wish that game would have ended in a draw because it helps the U.S. in terms of the World Cup qualifying standing. But then on the other hand, you know how U.S. fans hate Mexico, and that you know it seems like maybe now the whole region realize that it's pretty much CONCACAF versus Mexico, and anytime when Mexico lose, CONCACAF region and all the team basically wins, and that's kind of also how a lot of U.S. fans feel like the fact that, you know, hey, you know, yes, it doesn't help us in their standings, but it's nothing more. It will be even more joyful to see Mexico once again fail, and they did. That's what happened in that game against Canada, and certainly congratulations to our friends in the North who, I'll tell you what, Canada, it's been an incredible run, and in some way, they're kind of almost like many U.S. fans, they're kind of almost like second team in this CONCACAF region, and I've been very impressed what they have done in terms of this World Cup qualifying stage, and looks like they're looking to qualify for the World Cup for the first time since oh god, it's been so long since they have last qualified for the World Cup, but they're in a very good position to do so. But nevertheless, you know, because of Canada winning, the U.S. does drop to second place while Mexico now is in third. And now I know there's going to be a lot of doomers that's going to say, oh look, the U.S. are back in second, and look, they're only 1 point above the red line right now because Panama is also hot on both Mexico, U.S., and Canada's heel, and that it seems like the world is falling to pieces again. Let me just remind you that the U.S. are still above the red line right now. And you got to also remember that since this is an away game, and I've said this before, and I'm pretty sure everybody have said this, when you're in the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying stage, you win your home games and you get points on the road. And if you do that, you're going to qualify for the World Cup. And right now, the U.S. are doing exactly that. Well, for the most part, they're doing that because they did have that hiccup against Canada at home, and then of course they lost to Panama on the road, and that was not a good loss. But hey, you know, they got a hard-fought point in a game where they could have easily lost this one. I mean, if they would have lost this one, then maybe, yeah, there would be once again that sense of panicking. But the fact that they were able to get away with a hard-fought draw in a game that they definitely did not look at their best, and now heading into January when they have a chance to play some home game, although I think during that January window they do play against Canada, and that's going to be in Canada, which again, I don't know how I'm going to feel. Again, you know, Canada is almost almost my second team, so I'm kind of almost in conflict when that happened, but you know, I obviously will still root for the U.S., and again, that's probably going to be just as tough of a game when the U.S. does play against Mexico at the Azteca in March, because what we've seen with Canada not only doing well in the World Cup qualifying, but if that game is going to be taking place in Edmonton, and I saw that game between Mexico and the U.S. playing pretty much in the frozen tundra that is known as Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, yeah, I do kind of maybe get a little bit concerned about the U.S. Although I will say that at least I think these players are more adapted in terms of playing in the snow compared to Mexican player. Maybe that will be a benefit, but still, you know, playing in a frozen tundra. It's not gonna be easy whatsoever. And again, I'm very interested to see how they're gonna play in that game. And then I think they play against El Salvador in the Jeremy camp, so there's chance for them to get points in that window and continue to grind their way. Because again, World Cup qualifying in the CONCACAF region, as I said many times before, it's not a sprint, it's a grind. And right now, I think this point, as bad as I know some people might say that, you know, getting a point on the road against one of the worst team in the octagonal qualifying is, man, you know, they didn't play well in this game, and you're able to get away with a draw. It's still a pretty good resort, especially with the way that the U.S. are doing exactly what pretty much the simplest task is to make it to the World Cup, win your home games, and also get points on the road, or even get wins on the road if you can't do so. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this game. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.